3 weeks ago I made a video including 50 tips for Mewgenics, and at that time I had around 100 hours in the game. Now I'm close to 300 hours and I have a lot of new things to share with you. I've condensed everything I've learned, from secret interaction to crazy combos, taking from my own experience, but also some comments on YouTube or Reddit posts. Thanks for sharing those insights, everyone. I really enjoy discovering the little interaction this game has to offer with the community. So if you have less than 50 hours in the game, I recommend you to check the other video first to avoid mid-game spoilers, but if you're already smashing Act 2 and Act 3 and even in higher difficulties, then this new video is for you. Okay, let's start with something I discovered yesterday while moving furnitures around. When you're holding a furniture, you can switch its direction by pressing right-click. Number 2, the best way to farm for retired cats and get the full house as soon as possible is to combine two methods. The first method is well known. You go to the alley, you clear it and send the 4 cats to frame. Now, did you know that if you beat a house boss like Guillotina with 1 retired cat and 3 stray, you will get 4 retired cats at the end of the fight? Like on this clip, I'm doing Guillotina on hard because I need to progress the story, but you can also summon the first Guillotina on normal difficulty at Stevens and fight it with 1 cat level, let's say 5-6, plus 3 stray. And if you're like me, progressing in the hard version of this boss, think about your solo runs. 1 good cat level 20 can destroy the 3 Guillotina in hard easily. You just have to add stray cats to get them retired at the end. Number 3, if you're having a bit of a mental breakdown trying to clean the poop every day without clicking on your precious cats, then you should definitely open the Furniture tab. In this section, the poops are highlighted and most importantly, there is no cats. Number 4, a cool combo that I found with the Butcher is that the meat is considered a corpse, meaning that if you're running the Spider Hat that spawns spider from corpse explosion, and the spell Spoil, which transforms meat pickup into rot flies, then you'll have a great way to generate 2 spiders and a rot fly with Spoil per meat pickup. Obviously, this can scale into something crazy if you have any ways to add more meat on the board. Number 5, since we're talking about meat, did you know that you can cleanse poison food using a healing or debuff spell on rotten food on the floor? You will clear it and it will give the usual bonus. 6, it probably happened to the best of us, but being pushed into spikes by the water stream in the sewers can be annoying. Although you can predict in which direction the water will push you by looking directly at the water design. You will see the stream and its direction. 7, one of the weather event is Birdemic, and honestly, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because it didn't happen to you. Basically, this event adds some birds with +2 to all stats and they are angry. It's really too bad I didn't record that day, but if you have a druid in your team, your own bird will be against you, but on top of that, it will start the fight in the middle of your team and potentially first because of the double stat bonus. It's a massive threat, I almost died because of it, be careful out there. 8. I also don't have a footage for that one, but if you have Magic Weakness debuff on you, that means that any incoming spell will be critical, which means a heal will double heal. I had this Psychic plus Mage combo with Mindcrack, and it was really cool to see my Mage go full life with Absorb, no matter how low his life was. 9. The best way to get rare furnitures besides the shop is to go in Das Future. In the hard pass, you'll find a rare furniture box guaranteed, but yeah, I know. It's not the funniest run to go for the lab plus Das Future's hard path. It's probably the 2 hardest zone in the game. But if you're not there yet, the hard pass in the bunker will also give you a rare furniture box sometimes. It is not guaranteed though. Number 10, if you go in the crater and get this little thing as a cursed item because you've let it approach you, then there is a way to remove it. By attacking the cursed cat with basic attack, you have a small chance to remove the parasite. The chance depends on luck, and obviously try to use a cat with a weak basic attack. 11. Unlocking higher difficulties is done through house boss like Guillotina. Basically, once you've unlocked hard mode in the scenario, you need to defeat the last boss of a zone in hard, like the king for Act 1, to unlock the house boss in hard mode. Then, if you complete all house bosses related to that act in hard, so here the free Guillotina, you will get the crazy difficulty unlock, etc. Note that for Act 2, there is only 2 house boss since Pyrofina versus Zaratana was a one-time thing to unlock the rift. 12. If you finish the last boss of a zone in a higher difficulty than normal, you will unlock some very strong red items. The red items are usually game breaker in their own way. It doesn't mean that they will right away make you busted, but they can be used for some of the most broken combos. And at the end of this video, I will show you, in my opinion, the craziest combo. 13, this one comes from Reddit, and honestly I have been trying to reproduce it, but the RNG wasn't on my side. The spell Divide allows you to attack more often by dividing your damages each time. Although you can remove the Divide debuff with a cleanse spell, which means you won't have your damage divided anymore, but you will still have the extra basic attacks. And obviously you can do that more and more to get a stupid amount of basic attacks per turn. Number 14, in higher difficulties, enemies will have an elite buff, giving them some random bonuses. If you infest an elite enemy and then kill it, the spiders will benefit from the same buff. 15, the Bible is a weapon item used to remove a debuff. The thing is that you can also use it on zombie-like enemies to proc fear on them. I tried to get a footage of that interaction, but again, I haven't got a single Bible in a long time. 16, and we are back on Reddit. Thanks guys for the discovery, but some spells like Goofballs can heal instead of dealing damages if you have negative stats. That's kinda cool. 17, spells that destroy a body or transform the loot of a body like Gib can actually be super useful in that future. Basically, this can one-shot the fetus and completely bypass their second phase plus their explosion. Very useful. Okay, number 18, and this one is a bit of a stretch, but do you know those annoying enemies that bounce projectile back at you? Well, you know them, right? You remember that one hunter shot that crit back at you. Well, if your basic attack is like heal allies and damage enemies, the projectile bouncing back at you will actually heal you. I know, it makes sense, I just didn't expect it to work when I tried it. Number 19, items or spell that forces an ally to attack will bypass any debuff. Here I used the American flag to force my tank to attack and it didn't proc its confusion, and that's really cool. By the way, the American flag is such a great weapon, highly recommended. Number 20, Mewgenics offers some of the best element interactions I've seen since Baldur's Gate 3, I would say. And yeah, we all know that an electric spell in water will damage every unit in there, but did you know that a wet cat walking on short grass will spawn a tall grass? I didn't know that. It's a very cool way to end your turn with the stealth bonus. 21, now since we're there, the wind element removes tall grass. So if you're playing the bird, for example, it's better to first remove the grass with Aeroblast and then use your basic attack for 100% accuracy. The enemy won't have stealth anymore, but of course don't throw him too far away from your own range, that would be sad. 22, and again, since we're there with the bird, every stat you have on your druid is applied to your bird. That's more or less common knowledge. But most people don't know that every item affecting your basic attack, for example, will also buff or debuff the attack of your bird. Let's say you're running soy milk to spam the druid's buff. Well, on paper it's a great idea, but your bird will attack 3 times for 1 damage each instead of its regular damage. Since the druid wants to heal and the bird wants to do some damages, the only way to make it work is with Versatile Vocalist. This passive is an open door to many combos and possibilities. Like, look at this. My druid's basic attack applies Soul Link and Leeches to enemy while buffing and healing all allies. Completely insane. 23, this one comes from the top comment in my previous video. If your intelligence is lower than 0, we already know that the text will be gibberish. But in the Ice Age zone, the song will have lyrics instead of the usual bunga bunga. Man, I can almost sing that song out of memory. I need to touch some grass for real. Oh, by the way, you don't need to go there with a negatively intelligent cat to unlock the song. Just keep running Ice Age and you will unlock both versions of the track. It's a banger, by the way. 24, now that I know how luck works, I can safely say that this is the best stat of the game. I didn't have the vision before, but I've learned that every event in the game is related to luck. And I'm not talking about an event where they ask you to lick, charm, or kill a pile of poop. No. If you're confused, your luck will influence the outcome. So you see that 25% to attack yourself? Well, it's based on 5 luck. Same goes for blind, same goes for the roulette spell, etc, etc. There is this one comment on Reddit that explained it very well. I'll put the link to the post somewhere in the description. 25, I originally thought this was obvious, but after seeing so many people surprised by a Reddit post about it, I figured I should just mention it. You can go inside the moon to make the fight easier. Just go with a solid cat with good intelligence and constitution, and you will be able to order the ants to hit the moon from there. 26, incest is a great breeding technique as long as you manage birth defect. Basically, a birth defect can appear while breeding cats from the same family. If that happens, you can put the cat in a high mutation room. The game tends to replace birth defect in priority when the cat evolves overnight. The only thing you need to be aware of is the number of birth defect, 1 maximum, otherwise it might take some time to clean out your mutated inbred cat. 27, going for solo run can be tedious, but if you're like me and you want to get those little check marks, then the best option is to play around Madness. There's a few ways to get Madness, like having Blood Frenzy on a cat from the beginning, but the best way in my opinion is to go with Rage Juice. It gives you +4 in strength and speed, but the fact that you can decide when to activate it during a fight is what makes it so versatile and good for solo runs. 28, another tip with the spider hat is that anything with a health bar will be considered a corpse. So for example, if you destroy a poop with the hat, it will spawn spiders. Same goes for rocks. This makes the hat way better than what I thought initially. 29, Frying Pan is probably one of the best items in the game. I don't have a footage unfortunately, but I did a run where my tank had it and all I had to do was to put my tank in the middle and make him look away. The AI in Mewgenics focus the back of your cats if possible. It makes the Frying Pan an absolute god tier item. Number 30, I have once used the double strike ability syringe on my Psychic to do a double basic attack, and on paper it looked great, but because the Psychic's attack pulled the enemy towards you, the second attack always missed because the tile was now empty. Although it does work well if you bump the enemy into something so the second attack can hit the same tile. 31, if it's snowing in the sewer, you might have to fight Frostbiter there, and that's a bit unfair in a early game since this guy is a boss in Act 3. Funny though, if you look closely inside the snake, you will see a poop and it's probably the Flushmaster. 32, there is a real difference in the wording between spells that charm an enemy for a fight and spells that makes you keep the charmed enemy in your team. If you take a look at Eternal Servitude, it says join your team and that's what you want to look for. This is obviously busted, probably my favorite necro spell because you can have a whole army of creatures with you. Number 33, collarless cat runs are very important to do. Besides the obvious achievement and completion incentive, doing runs with collarless cats unlocks some very cool stuff. First of all, by completing the boneyard with one collarless cat at least, you will unlock skill share, which is great for absurd combos, but the real thing is about its upgraded version. It forces the second skill transmission while breeding, an amazing way to force great passive like Mini-Me or Lucky on your kittens. Side note, skill share is the only passive in the game that cannot be transmitted through breeding. Also, by completing zone up till the end, you will get some cool gear like the normal set giving +1 to each stat, which is very versatile. But if you push further and go for a full collarless cat team and you manage to defeat the 3 acts, you will get the copycat set that is, in my opinion, the biggest combo enabler of the game through gear. 34. Horse Blinder is the item for a thief since everything you hit will most likely be in line with your cat. Combine it with some passives giving you more crit chance or damage or both, and you will have a crazy combo. Just look at this little dude right there. This was the best thief I ever had and it's because of this item. 35. The best trinket of the game is the one you get at the end of the infinite by rolling the luck dice on the last event of the game, which I won't show for spoiler reasons. Immaculate Heart is just insane. Now imagine coupling it with Cap and Bells or with Rune of Jira. Completely trivialize the game and perfect for solo runs. Imagine that on a Psychic. Side note, magic damage buffs the sparkles damage. So with a +1 in magic damage, the 3 sparkles are already pumping to 6 damages in total. With the triple trinket, it's 12 damages. And to finish this video, last information, when you will be done upgrading the house, you will have a new reward system with Frank. Every 10 retired cat you send, Frank will give you a parasite. That's it for today, guys. I hope you learned something today. Bye bye.